sharing. Oh, a bird just came to visit. Sharing from the Kabbalah Center, David Ghiyam, on Tiferet. So coming up with an intention. Mine is passion. To have passion, it comes out as motivation, not unbridled passion, but passion. Tiferet is related to beauty, Torah, the torso, and actually the nose also. It's all about balance, learning how to live in the paradox. Two places at the same time. The association is with the color green, and it's right in the core, the center. We say Zera Anpin, small face, is like the miniature version of God's. We said we're made in God's image. This is like the miniature version of God's image. So we say it's the right in the middle, the core of this Zera Anpin, the small face. When we think of the tree of knowledge, it includes the 8th dimension. From Chachma and Bina, we get Das. Chabad. If anyone's heard of a Chabad house in the entire world, it's because we look at the word Das. Das is both related to the mother, like it helps to mature the baby. It gives context versus like the seed and the egg provided from the parents. And then Das is more like the incubation, the knowledge, like the actual germination. So we have in the tree of life 6 dimensions of Zeir Anpin and Malchut, Tiferet, Chesed, and Gevura, Netzach and Hod. Right arm Chesed, left arm Gevura. This is like both Partsuf, which is like visage, and then all, like representation, but also in the physical, in the metaphysics and in the physics. The left leg Hod, right leg Netzach, the pelvis Yesod, and then Malchut is the feet going up to the mouth. So it doesn't include the Keter, which is like the crown, the aura, or Chachma and Bina. Chachma is on the right side of the head, Bina is on the left. Vav, in the Yud Hey Vav Hey, is this Das and Zeir Anpin kind of, and we think of Yaakov as the representative to Tiferet, called an Ish Tam, a complete person. The desire to selflessly give is binding the desire to receive for selfishly, self alone, which is where we know Avraham bound Yitzchak. So binding desire is how we get real passion. We bind the desire. If you want to have real passion, you can't have passion for everything, right? So it's an elevated consciousness. And then Jacob receives a new name, Yisrael. He integrated the fragmentation, which was his brother's area, which is called Esav. He dreamed about angels on the ladder in the same place that Avraham bound Yitzchak. So Israelite, his new name, Israel, is the code for the energies of the three forefathers, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and 4 foremothers, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. One of them, Jacob, had 2 of these wives. He also had 2 other women that were not his wives, but each of the other 2 had only 1 wife. So together we have 4 and 3. And about being chosen is choosing to transform. Yisrael includes all their initials, like Avraham is Aleph, Lamed, Leah, the Hebrew letters, Reish, Rachel, Sarah, and Reish also for Rivka, and Yod is Yaakov and Yitzchak. So, and we elevate the nature and do the work of Tikkun. So Esav, the idea is like Tohu. Tohu is before Tikkun, so it's higher. So it's basically being able to draw the support of them, the patriarchs and matriarchs, down. Where we know the firstborn has extra energy to transform, that's their birthright. Esav and Yaakov. Yaakov chased negatively, and Esav chased positively. The fetishizer, the obsessor, in terms of balancing life. Israelites, and that's like in the dark, that's the dark kind of passions, right? So Israelites will go through 4 exiles: Babylon, Persia, Greek, and Roman. The Roman is the current exile from the light of God. Yaakov saw 3 angels go up and fall, but the 4th went up and didn't come down. So the self can, and we learned that Esav, Edom, is Roman. Self can help others once liberated. So we also have this as an individual exile. Lavan was a sorcerer, evil. This is working with Yaakov, Yaakov worked for 2 cycles to marry his daughter, his first daughter, and then the second daughter. He wanted the one daughter, and then Lavan tricked him. So he had to marry the older daughter. It was a trick. He found out the next day. And then he still wanted to marry the woman that he intended. So nowadays the Torah doesn't permit marrying wow, okay. That was from my lunch. Now I understand why some people say you gotta brush your teeth right after you eat. I already took a shower after that and still and I drank tons of water. Anyway, Esav was coming with 400 men. This is the levels of negativity from the satanic way, whose biggest trick is, I don't exist. Why do you want to know my name? That's what the Esav's angel told Yaakov when they were fighting. Why do you want to know my name? But the new name that he gave Yaakov, Yaakov didn't let him go. He said, now you bless me. Now the light's here. Now you bless me. Now I know who you are. He said, okay, now he felt lighter, protected, hugged by the Creator. He had 12 kids, 600,000 souls going through the desert, going to Sinai. And now we know, also we have, like, in terms of direction, Tiferet is east. East is also considered true north according to Judaism. We call it Mizrach. So west is Malchut, south is Chesed, north is Gevura. So it's about receiving Shabbos, southern hospitality, the choppy get to work, Netzach is up, Hod is down. So here we have the Chesed, right, is considered north because true north is east, right? So if we're facing east, then this is north and this is south. This is north and this is south. So the left side is south. And then the west is Malchut, which is kind of like the feet, but we could say that comes behind. And then receiving Shabbos from the east, southern hospitality, we would say, north is Gevura. I'm backwards right now. So if that's west, then that's north. That has to be north. So north is Gevura. And then southern hospitality is Chesed. We say, and then in terms of footsteps, Malchut is the feet. By the time you get to the next foot, you left, the west is behind you. You ready? Your last step was way behind you. So that's like going somewhere. So Netzach is up, like, and Hod is down. It's making yourself lower. Netzach is making yourself up. Walking alone at night draws opportunity for negativity. Midnight to dawn, he fought the angel, right? So Yaakov fought this angel. He sought out negativity in his life to war with and claim and integrate. From midnight to dawn is when the dark transforms to light. We know this from physically, but also metaphysically. Proactively going to the children, even 2 minutes just before they're in need, is fulfilling and potent and satisfying. It gives security and reassurance and avoids reactive bonding. So in other words, prevention is better than the cure. You go to your kid and say, how was your day? And they talk to you for a little, then they go back to what they're doing, versus if you wait for your kid to feel deprived and then try to make trouble to get your attention. And it goes, you don't listen, you still don't listen, you still don't listen, and still don't listen, and eventually you have a kid having a tantrum. But you may not have heard the many first calls, so that's what we're saying. We go before they even start to call. This is the exercise of positive and negative, really. Nurturing, compassionate versus self-pitying and victimhood. Creative, which is coming up with new solutions, versus giving up quickly. Self-possessed, versus unsustainable ways. Unsustainable ways are when we get possessed by this until it leaks out or until it drains, and then this, and then this. Wisdom and intellect, or anxious and afraid. So when we feel controlled versus when we plug into the channel of divine inspiration, we could see that's the difference between balance and imbalance. Tiferet has to be earned because it like opens the faucet. We come into the world to earn. One, completely in touch with the pillars of positivity and pillars of negativity. Believing in, and here we're not saying negativity and positivity only as bad or good. We're saying in terms of the one that exudes and the one that draws in. So believing in ourselves and also not denying our struggles. It's grace, it's humility, not humility like Hod, which is like hollowing itself out to make space, but rather a humility like a compassion, a willingness to say, I'm not greater than you. I have room in my heart for you. All the power of the entire universe exists in me. I can reveal the light regardless of who I am in any moment and context that I'm in. So it's not to say I created this power, but it's to say I am witnessing the power that's within. So we can't stay too long in the self-hate or the self-love. It's a trap. We have to stay in balance. 2, when we're in pain, we can volunteer and share, because when we're in ecstasy, we ground back into reality, which includes darkness, including by witnessing and being there for others in pain. Otherwise, there's like this roller coaster. We keep chipping away at the rocks of negativity that surround us toward this pure state of mind. Another thing is it's all about MS, truth. And that's why it's not too exaggerating or too underrating or underestimating. So Yaakov never lied. He was honest with his words. Truth evolves with us. Coming and not, reaching and not reaching, touching and not. It's called mati velo mati, like here but not here. It's a wave and it's a particle of light. It's like flowing and it's right here and now and not over there. And it's also everywhere at once. So it's this spaciousness where we have to use the soul, the heart, to accept a paradox. Nothing makes sense. We're in a mystery. The mind can't have division though, but this heart is expansive. So this heart is able to say, I'm happy and she's sad, and both are existing, and so it is happy and it is sad. And it's not one or the other, but the mind needs to know, am I happy, am I sad? It needs an I statement. And this is when we think of mati velo mati, it's kind of this unstructured good. It's actually more chaotic, but it doesn't have to shake us, because we can have an unflinching steadiness when we're really working with Tiferet. And even our loved ones saying terrible things or leaving us or losing money, we have this constant light of God, unmoving and being served without being a slave, like without selling out and saying, well, I'm not worthy anyway, may as well suffer. Rather, opening the heart, feeling and continuing. In other words, seeing that we're being served our portion, not saying, I'm meant here to suffer. Adam Kadmon, original man, primordial man, which takes up all of us. This is before we get to what I mentioned, Zeir Anpin, the miniature man. We have this original man. So it's like incomprehensible. It's above the world of Atzilut, which is the light emanating. So there's nothing to comprehend it with, because it precedes all tools that can comprehend it. So it's right after the Or Ein Sof, or the light that never ends, or the endlessness, the thing without no end, which, again, we said earlier, our brain cannot comprehend this. It's our mind that is unable. We must use Tiferet for this work. So practicing restriction, because without rest for maximum light and for happiness, there is some paradoxical living. Every day we're new and learning. So it's not what we thought. We know so little and have no idea what's really going on. Yet what's true for us can be a lie for someone else. As we receive, we deserve nothing. And as we share, we deserve everything. So it's like we can never get too comfortable. We have to stay open. And same way the heart is pumping in and out, lungs are breathing in and out. It would say we're breathing. Sometimes there's an inhale. Is that not breathing? And so it's also breathing. It would say breathing in, breathing out. It has to be part of something bigger. And that's where we have Tiferet. The incoming and the outgoing. Nothing and everything. Giving and receiving. So best vessel is large and wants everything. But that's what is just motivation to practice and train. Whether you want luxury, success, fame, or honor. However, when it comes in real life to doing the work, it doesn't actually come from ego, because having to have a lofty vision in the name of sharing, helping, giving, and goodness. I'll have a future video about this. I mean, there's a few journals to get to before I get there, but a more recent thing I was writing about was about, just very quickly, that the most ambitious people have a huge will, but they use it for the sake of a cause, something bigger than them. Not for their vessel, but for a vessel that could even change the world. So back to this, it's about wanting to be a star until there's like the game, the client, the test, the partner is there right in front of us. Then it's all about them. So we feed the desire to want to be a star, but then we make whatever it is be that star. So we develop the will so that we could invest ourselves completely and have a lofty vision in the name of the giving, the goodness. We don't believe the light that comes without hard work. Tiferet knows that there's no light that comes to those who don't work hard. Don't believe that sorry, that's not exactly what I'm saying. Not that there's no light, except there is light. Don't believe there isn't light coming just because you don't perceive it at that moment. When you're working hard, there's 100% there's light coming. We have to believe one who says they worked hard and found light. True effort guarantees a success. It just may not be obvious yet. So I'll finish up by saying, regardless of faith or background, this is true for everyone. You want to seek God and you make the effort, you're getting the reward. It's the light. And sometimes it's just like each person has a different threshold. So there's the tipping point, the personal threshold. It might take some time. I wish you a beautiful evening and lots of light.